Hi, it's 1841 and Sam Houston's president of the Republic of Texas once again. You must have known that Sam Houston wasn't done being president. He did, according to the Texas Constitution, have to step down for 2 years because no one is allowed to serve 2 consecutive terms. But always in the back of his mind was the fact that he would once again be president of the Republic. After all, his main goal was to be annexed by the U.S. In order to make us look more attractive to the U.S., his plan as president the second time around was to reduce government spending and pull the Texas military out of Mexico. After all, the U.S. isn't going to want to annex us if they think they're going to have to go to war with Mexico. He also tried to put down rebellions within our own armed forces at that time. A naval commander by the name of Moore actually had been in Mexico when Houston had ordered him to return to Texas. Moore refused, went to New Orleans to repair his ships. Houston very wisely put down this man's open rebellion by declaring him a pirate and allowing anyone to attack his ships. Moore got the message and returned to Texas without any bloodshed. In addition, Mexico had never given up the war, and in March of 1842, a man by the name of General Vasquez actually comes to San Antonio with about 700 soldiers and occupies San Antonio for a couple of days. Later on, in September of that same year, 1842, a Mexican commander named General Wool actually invades Texas once again and holds San Antonio, taking 67 Texas hostages with him. Now, General Houston sends a militia under the command of a man named Somerville to actually capture General Wool. Now, a chase ensues, and Somerville gets to the Mexican border and doesn't know if he has the right to invade. Houston didn't say he could or not. He's replaced by a man named Fisher, William Fisher, who now commands the Texans who want to invade Mexico. And once in Mexico, they occupy a small town by the name of Mier, where they demand that the people of the town give them supplies. Now, while they're in Mier, they are surrounded by forces of the Mexican army. Santa Anna orders that these men be put to the death. 1 out of every 10 prisoners is to be killed. Now, how are they going to decide which 1 out of every 10 prisoners is going to be killed? Well, the ones that drew a black bean out of a mug were shot by a firing squad. The ones who drew a white bean were imprisoned. Those who were imprisoned, many of them died in prison. The others were released in 1844. So overall, the Mier expedition to invade Mexico, not really what you would call a big success. Do you remember how Lamar had moved the capital to Austin, a newly created city in the center of Texas? Well, don't forget that Lamar and Houston didn't really like each other. So Houston actually tried to move the capital back to Houston again because he said that the archives were in danger to the Mexicans and the Comanches. But when Houston sent his men there to get the archives, which are official records of the Republic, he was met by a bunch of angry Austinites. Among these was Angelina Everly, who actually sounded the alarm, letting the people know that Houston was there to take the archives by firing a cannon. Now, Houston's men get frightened. They leave Austin, and the capital stays in Austin and is never moved to Houston. Houston's men are caught up with, the archives are taken out of the wagons they had loaded them in, and they're returned to Austin. Not only did Houston have the Archives War, the Mier expedition, all the problems in the military to deal with, but he also had a feud, much like the Hatfields and McCoys, called the Regulator-Moderator War, which had broken out in East Texas between 2 different groups of people. Now, in August 1844, Houston sends 600 troops to stop the violence between the 2 groups, and it effectively ends this Regulator-Moderator War, where basically 2 different groups of people had taken the law into their own hands and become vigilantes. Even though being president of the Republic was a big headache, don't forget Houston's efforts to gain annexation. We tried again to be annexed by the United States while John Tyler was president. However, the Senate rejected our ballot by 1 vote. Now, we were disappointed, but this is going to become an issue in all the future U.S. presidential elections, whether or not Texas should become a state. in the United States of America.